Hey, Beat Buddy users, it is the Municipal Man of Mystery here in front of the ISO booth. And today, as you know by the title of the video, we are talking about the Beat Buddy Manager software, and that's probably why you are here. This is not a tutorial specifically, it's an addendum, so that means it's a discussion about some of the knowledge base or some of the issues that come up when using your Beat Buddy. And we're focusing on some of the, well, let's call them problems that people have come across when using the Beat Buddy Manager. Some of those problems are features, and some of those problems are bugs. The features being the things that the software does or doesn't do by design. And then there are the bugs, which are the things that the software isn't intended to do. And, that's those annoying things that cause roadblocks and make you want to pull your hair out. And if you can see under the hat, I don't have a lot of hair to pull out, so I can't afford it. The goal of this addendum is to save you some time and try to avoid you falling into some of those pitfalls. So I've divided my ideas into two categories. One is my wish list, and these are the things that I wish the Beat Buddy did or had that would make workflow a lot better and allow you to exploit some of the possibilities and creativity of the Beat Buddy. And the second part are the bugs, and these are some inexplicable problems that I have come across in using the Beat Buddy Manager software. Incidentally, I've been using the Beat Buddy since the very beginning. I ordered one pre-production, and the software hasn't really changed in that time. And so there are a number of things that I have just given up on using because of the problems it causes. So I'm going to get into those in detail. And so stick with us. Let's go to the tape and see what this is all about. Here's my analog transition. The first thing, of course, is the learning curve that everybody faces when you start using something like this. And that's not Beat Buddy's fault. That's just the nature of the beast. And everybody has a different background with tech and music production and stuff like that. And you have to go through the process of learning the ins and outs of it, just like anything. So some of the things I've just plain old given up on, and other things I think it's okay for. So the first thing is getting your MIDI beats onto your Beat Buddy, and for that, it's fairly good. It works okay. It's fairly user-friendly, but I think in some cases they've tried to make it too user-friendly, and therefore it is not friendly to some users, namely myself. And that's because if you try to do anything creative with it, you start running into some of the problems. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is my wish list. These are the things that I wish Beat Buddy Manager had. Okay, if I go over to Logic here, I've got a Logic window open because I'm going to use it. I've got a volume slider. Here it is. And if I open iTunes or something like that, there's also a volume slider. It's pretty standard with sound applications. They have a volume slider. Beat Buddy Manager does not. So item number one would be a volume slider. Why would I want that? Well, it's because if I'm arranging a beat, I'm often using Logic to create it, and I might be using iTunes to reference it or something like that. So the point is, I might have different apps open on the desktop, and the sound is generating from the desktop, and Beat Buddy Manager simply just puts it out full blast. Okay, so let's compare. If I play this beat here, if it's too loud or too quiet, I can just adjust it. If I play a part of this beat here, what do I got? Okay. That's my volume choice. I don't have a choice to lower that. So, and when I'm making videos, if I'm going back between Logic and Beat Buddy Manager, the Beat Buddy Manager always comes out full blast, and it's always clipping, and it causes headaches in post-production. And, these are things that I deal with. You might not have found it's an issue for most people. It probably isn't, but it's nice to have the flexibility. My point being, it's pretty standard on sound applications to have a volume slider. Okay, item number 2. This one's a bit of a time waster, and I wish it weren't. You cannot play a song from the middle using the simulator. All right, so what do I mean by that? Like, let's say I'm working on this part here, number 6, and I've got a main beat, I've got a fill, and I got a transition, and I'm just working out the arrangement. I want to make sure that I haven't made any mistakes and that it all flows together, but I just want to hear this part of the song, maybe go to part number 7. In order to do that, I have to use the simulator. Of course, I can play... Sorry, that's really loud. I can play each lozenge separately, but I can't hear the transitions. So I have to use the simulator, but I have to start from the beginning, go through all these transitions, come down to number 6, and then listen to it, and I can only hear it once. And I hope I didn't lose my concentration or whatever. So it would be nice if I could just play a part of the song from the middle with the simulator, just in case I were trying to work out an arrangement and I wanted to confirm it or something like that. So that would be nice feature number 2. Nice feature number 3 would be a browser library. If I click on this and I want to add a drum fill here, it opens up a Finder window, and then it's going to take me to some of my MIDI files, hopefully. Okay. And then I have to click through it and find the MIDI lozenge that I want to import. It would be nice if, like, the photo app on Mac or like Adobe, they have that feature where you can just store all of your things in one location, right? And then it brings up a browser window, and maybe it's laid out in a tablet form or something like that, so that you can just find them more easily. Because otherwise you got to go flipping through the browser window, trying to find the one that you want. And it's a bit of a chore if you've got 20 odd MIDI parts that you want to bring into a song, and you're just clicking, going back and forth, clicking, So the import feature is time consuming. Now, this brings us to another point that's going to come up later, which is one of the bugs of BeatBuddy Manager is that it never seems to remember where you were. So if I click here and it opens it up, it brings me to one location, and it brings me there, and here it might not bring me back, put me in the folder itself. So it seems to be quite random. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then I end up having to go back through the folders and find where I was. And if you do that 20 or 30 times, that can really drive you crazy. If I can just interrupt here for a quick break to announce something that I'm super excited about. It is the launch of municipalman.com. If you go to municipalman.com, click on Store, follow the hairstyle for your favorite genre, you will find a growing selection of songs and beats that come BeatBuddy ready, and they're starting at just $2. A fast and secure payment, an immediate download, and you are good to go. So, here's an explosion, because everyone loves explosions. So that brings me to nice feature, what are we at, number 4 or 5? I forget. Would be a drag and drop import function. So if I want to add this MIDI file to this song, I do this, I can't do it. So I have to click and I have to go through the process of clicking, finding, and then importing. It would be nice if I could just open a MIDI file, drag the parts into the grid so that it would just import it automatically and save me that time. On top of that, what would be really great is a mass import feature. So if I could take an entire group of MIDI lozenges and import them en masse, and maybe you could number the grid and then you can number the MIDI lozenges or something like that, and you label them 1, 3, 9, something like that, and then it plops them into the grid as you like. Perhaps that would be great. I don't know if that's possible, but certainly it would save a lot of time. Now, of course, once you have created a song, you can save it as a .sng file, a .song file, and then you can re-import it again, but once you've done it, why would you need to do that? Unless you were moving it around or saving it. So that brings me to another point. When I was putting together the Municipal Man Beat Store, I made it a point that all of the downloads would come with a song file so that BeatBuddy users could just click on this and it would import the whole thing all together. And otherwise, you would have to take all of these MIDI lozages and arrange them. So in the instructions, I show you how to do that and show you the arrangement, but who wants to spend the time, right? Which would be nice if when you bought something from Singular Sound, it came with the song file. Now, this is not a song, but, how do you know what these sound like? How do you know where they're going to fit and stuff like that? So this brings us to another point about this, is that a great feature would be to have a MIDI preview feature, right? Because if I'm looking at this MIDI file here, I have no idea what it sounds like. All I know is that it's a bossa nova and it's the hi-hat thing, but I don't know what it really sounds like. I can't click this and hear it like I can with an MP4. So if the software had a MIDI preview feature, then I could listen to it. Otherwise, what I have to do is take the file, drag it into Logic or something like that, and then I can hear it. Okay, that sounds nice. But if I'm trying to find a specific fill because it fits the song that I want, I might have to go through 15 or 20 of these. I don't know what it sounds like exactly. So there's no preview feature, and it makes the whole process a bit of a chore. And if you look at some of the Singular Sound downloads, I'm not trying to dump on Singular Sound because I think a lot of their products are good, but look at this. There's 100 and something things here, which sounds really nice, but your average person trying to sift through these, you'd drive yourself crazy. You'd have to open them up in BeatBuddy Manager as a song, or drag them all into some kind of sequencer, or have something to play them on, because how are you going to use them? All they have is a description. So that's why at municipalman.com, I tried to reference the songs to a song that so that you would at least know, oh, okay, this beat sounds like this song, and it has this kind of rhythm, and you could go there, and if you needed it, and it would save you from sifting through the ones that don't sound like it. Anyway, so that would be a nice feature if they made that a little less laborious, let's say. Okay, let's kill this point and move on, because I think we've got the point. All right, another wish list feature would be app control. If you're following online, some people have come up with some very elaborate ways of not having to bend over, sort through their song folder, and then use the direction keys to find the song they want to play. I get around this by just having lots of SD cards, so every project, I arrange it in the order that I'm going to play it, so I just have to click on the switch, and it scrolls through. But if you don't have that and you're sort of going from one song to the next randomly, you have to go through the folder by using the direction keys. And that means you have to bend over. And, it's not a terrible thing. It just means that it's a bit of a hassle. If BeatBuddy had a dedicated app where it had all of the functionality connected by Bluetooth, maybe it would be nice. Let's go on to the bugs. These are things that make using the BeatBuddy Manager really untenable sometimes, and very laborious, and quite a lot of time wasted just going through it. So one of the bugs that BeatBuddy Manager has, and it's always had this problem, and I'm not sure why. It might only be for Mac. I'm not sure about Windows, or maybe it's just my bad luck. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's that the BeatBuddy Manager never seems to remember where you are in your folders. So Every time you sort of open something or you open a new folder, it just opens the Finder randomly, and you have to go clicking through your folders to find where you want to go. And my MIDI folders are quite large and expansive, and it's a lot of sifting and clicking. So if there were a search feature, or it just had a browser window, or something that it always took you back to, and it did it consistently, that would save a lot of time and energy. So I hope they fix that. That would be nice. Okay, another thing that I don't know if this is a bug. It might be a feature. I think it's a bug. It really drives me crazy, and this is something that probably doesn't affect a lot of you out there. It depends what you're using your BeatBuddy Manager for. But if I open up Logic, you can see I have my choice of input and output source, as you do on your computer. And every sound production software that I have allows you to do this. Even QuickTime does. But for some reason with BeatBuddy, you can't do that. So often, if I am in a situation where I'm doing one thing and then I open the BeatBuddy Manager, or I have it open and I didn't close it or whatever, the sounds input is not the same as what I'm using. And so what you have to do is close the BeatBuddy Manager app and then reopen it with the new setting, and then it will take on whatever the desktop is using. So it would be great if you just had a preferences folder here where you could choose these things like other software does. That's all. All right, let's move on to the biggest bug that the BeatBuddy Manager has. And it involves creating drum sets. So if I go here, it opens up the drum set maker, and then let's say I want to modify or create a drum set. Right, so I open up my kit, and you can see all of the parts of the drum kit laid out, and I have all of these samples here for the different velocity levels. And if you're not quite sure what you're looking at here, you can explore it yourself, or you can go back into one of my tutorials about adding a sound to a drum kit, and I walk you through this in a little more detail. Now, that should work very well, except for the fact that this happens. I'm going to go to my wave sources. I wanted to create a special Christmas drum set for the Xmas List 5-pack at municipalman.com, so it was a series of Christmas songs or styles, and I wanted to add the Christmas sounds, jingle bells and stuff like that. And it really turned into a nightmare. So I ended up not doing it, which was unfortunate because I wanted to add a drum kit to the download included. So you would have a new drum kit for the Christmas songs. Anyway, I had forgotten that I had given up doing that because of this problem here. And again, I don't know if it does this on Windows, but it does it on Mac. Here's the drum kit that I modified. You notice that there's something called rock waves under here. And here's the drum kit that I created. And this is what it does. It saves the wave files in random locations. You can see it. It keeps repeating it. So every time I adjusted or saved it, it would save it again in a new random folder. Okay, it's not here, it's here. I don't know why. Why? Who knows? Okay, and then it finally gets to the end, and you've got the waves repeated every time you save it. And then it kept resaving the rock waves over and over again. So here they are. And I think there's another one here. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so the point is, obviously that doesn't work. All I wanted was the wave sources I was using for the new drum kit to be saved here. So that was quite maddening, because when you go back to the drum kit, the wave sources that you have chosen, like here, are not in that location. They're somewhere else, and therefore the drum set doesn't work. So there's nothing there to play the wave file. And I was never able to make it work. I've tried this a couple of times over the years, and it never works. It always has this problem. And it's a bug, I think. Obviously, software these days should be a little more sophisticated, and it shouldn't cause this problem. So it basically renders the whole drum set creator, drum set maker feature of BeatBuddy Manager moot. You can't do anything with it. I have managed, like some people, to add one sound to a drum kit, but that's if you put it in and then you save it and then you only use it once. If you only modify it one time, it seems to be usable somehow, and I've successfully done that a couple of times. But there are other problems that came up doing that. But then you have the whole, when you put the whole process together, like you can see all of these samples here. So each kit might have, 100 different wave samples, and you have to put them in one by one, right? So you have to go browse, 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 and then you have to choose the right wave file. And, that's extremely time consuming and tedious. It would be nice, again, if there were a browser type of thing or a mass import type of feature that allowed you to do that a lot more easily. But as it stands, there isn't. And so, when you put all of this, you put all your samples in and then you find out your drum kit doesn't work. Well, it's enough to make you want to pull your hair out. And, I don't have much hair to pull out. So I have even less now. All right, folks. Well, that's my list of bugs and features about BeatBuddy Manager. I don't know if Singular Sound is working on this. I haven't heard anything. Maybe 2021 will bring us a better, more functional BeatBuddy Manager, and that will open up the creativity of the BeatBuddy. Well, there you have it, folks. That's my 2 cents to drop into the well of knowledge. I hope you found that edifying, if not entertaining. I know it's not the most interesting of topics, but it could be helpful and save you some headache and heartache. So, thanks for joining in. If you could do me all the usual favors of liking and subscribing and sharing and all of that stuff, and please visit municipalman.com and check out what I'm working on there. It's still early days, so I'm building up the library of available beats for you to use. And please send me any questions or comments. You know how that works. Put it down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So stay tuned, and we'll see you all next time.